welcome back to another episode of She Say, He Say. Thank you again for riding with us for season number 3. We got a new team, as you guys saw from episode number 1. And this season, what we're talking about is we're talking about marriage, and we're talking about how marriage puts Black people as a whole, as a collective, in a different place on the world stage, right? If we would just figure out how to team up, find the right person, and stay married. Staying married is huge, because what you have to realize is, as we talk about wealth building, you lose 3/4 of your wealth in a divorce. Okay, this is statistically, you lose 3/4 of your wealth in a divorce. So staying married is very important. So we should do better in our choosing, right? As to who we choose to be with, right? Because now we're talking about divorce, and this show, one of the things we wanted to deal with is we wanted to deal with the disadvantages of marriage, and I think I just gave one: losing 3/4 of your wealth.
Heck yeah!
I think that's a huge one.
For sure.
That's a huge one. But Trey, he had a really good rant. He put it out there the other day when we were asking, the question about how we felt about marriage. So Trey, give me your idea of what some of the people you say, or some of the people that you deal with, what are some of what do they believe the disadvantages of marriage are?
Well, they get too comfortable. They already dating a chick. They already in a relationship with somebody, living together, doing everything. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Just like we married. What's the point in putting that paperwork?
I hate
What's
that
the point?
phrase.
What's the point in buying that ring? I can get up and leave anytime I want to. If I ain't liking necessarily the steps that's being taken, there's no get up and go about it. They just set in their ways. They comfortable. So when you trying to fortify a situation where y'all need to connect and unite, you got this dude or women sitting back like, I'm good. I don't need to. I want to be stuck right here. They already enjoying all the advantages of it.
Okay, but don't you think let's just say your children? Don't you think the children need to see a certain level of commitment?
Of course they do.
Yeah.
But see, when they're children, they don't know the difference between someone married and living together and someone just in a relationship living together.
When they go over their friend's house and mama and daddy got wedding pictures all over the house, and they notice that ain't none of them at mama and daddy's house, they're gonna ask the question, they parents got rings, y'all don't. They parents got pictures, y'all don't. What y'all doing? Your kids are gonna ask. You know what I'm saying? The kids is gonna ask. And then can you turn around, because I tell my kids, they know anything worth doing is worth doing right.
Gotcha.
Period. So there's a certain level of commitment that they gotta have at anything that they do. Period. So how do I teach that if I can't even commit to their mother?
That's true.
That's a situation where the person in that situation gotta have your same mindset. They gotta think the way you think. They gotta feel the way we feel about marriage. They don't. And that's the sad reality of it. You got so many people out here nowadays that's just, they don't care. They just don't care. If they kids go over their friend's house and they see pictures on the wall, people got rings on their finger. Mommy, daddy, Billy, mama, and daddy, they got this. I seen that. Don't you worry about no Billy and them. You worry about what's going on over here.
Right.
This is how we do things over here. They instill what they believe into their children.
Kids, right? And then it's
the kids grow up believing and thinking
the same thing.
Just like my mom and daddy. They seen it and they hear it. So that's all they know.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's a messed up reality, but it is reality.
Got it. Okay. You mean, are y'all along those same lines?
I feel like there are no disadvantages to marriage. I feel like if you research and you know what's right for you, don't do what mom and daddy did, because you know you're not finna wash all them dishes all the time. You know you're not finna fold up and starch them clothes. So do what works for you. Like, find somebody who fits you. Like, Chris Clean. I clean sometimes, but I wash all the time because I don't like the way you wash clothes. It's just a trade off. You know what I'm saying? Like I like it when he cleans when I'm not there because I get a little anxious. Like what you doing over there?
Right.
You have to find what works for you in a marriage, and it becomes a disconnect when you get with somebody and this person is expecting this thing and she's expecting this, but y'all never talked about it because nobody told y'all. That's why y'all need to have counseling. Everybody need to get counseling before you get married. You need to go
Well, they tell y'all
talk to
that.
somebody. Make sure you guys are on the same page as to what marriage means to you. It's not what it means to everybody else.
Right.
It's what it means to the people that are in it.
Right.
Therefore, you can get all the advantages of marriage.
Yeah.
Well, and I think a lot of the time what happens is that people don't know how, like I said before, people end up, it's a me thing. It's an I. And a lot of the things is some women grow faster. Mentally, emotionally, they're moving to the next step, most. I mean, well, some. We'll say some. I'm not going to say most, but they're moving on to their next steps. They might have met this person high school or college, but he's stuck here and she's then reached here, and now it's like they can't get on the same level, they can't get on the same path, they don't understand each other. He doesn't understand what she's talking about because she's done already gotten here, and then he feels inadequate. There's certain things that can create a disadvantage because of those type of things, because they're not correctly building together, or because she's taken that leap and she hasn't dragged him along with her. You know what I mean? A lot of the sad part is a lot of the time, a lot of women don't speak up.
Right.
I'm not saying that all, but there's a lot of women that don't speak up. They just allow, they just allow things to keep on going at the rate that they're going, and that's how you get some of these women that don't have marriages, and these men are like, oh, well, what's the point of a paper? Because you're doing all of the things.
Yeah.
But she ain't
I got
speaking
everything.
up.
Yeah.
Right.
She's not speaking up and like, no, this is not how this going. You need to put a ring
Right
on
away.
it. Like
Don't waste it.
we're not going to take
Right.
We're not going to take after we done got to know each other. We living in the same house. I'm cooking. I'm cleaning. You're cooking. You're cleaning. We're building right now. What is the
Draws
point
is
of you
here, like-
not putting a ring on my finger?
Right.
She needs to speak up. You know what I mean? At that point, and that's why a lot of the things. That's where the disadvantages work in. Because people don't know how to take the initiative to get any further than where they're at. And then they stay complacent. And next thing you know, it's another marriageless home that your children have not grown up in. And y'all done got to a point where this is where we're at.
And it also could be that woman and that guy was both raised in that household where we do things this way.
Right.
So don't nobody know to speak up.
Right.
They both thinking, well, this is how it's supposed to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's not.
It's
It
not.
should be
You're right.
marriage, just like she said. So it's a sad
And me
reality.
being raised by a single mother with never a man in sight. Never. My whole never. It's hard for me I had to come into my own kind of communication because, as far as love goes. Now, me and my sister, we affectionate all the time, hug, kiss, all the time. My mama wasn't really an affectionate person. Like, she didn't hug and kiss and, I
that's my
got
grandmother.
and stuff. And she always told me I was beautiful because she sewed and made all my clothes. But as far as, like, affection and love, like, everything comes into play from your childhood. You learn, that's pattern because you're there every day. You have to. You see that every day, so that's what you're used to. But once you leave that nest, you're open to all these. You see all these people around like, wait, they're doing stuff different. They're doing stuff different. How come my stuff that I'm doing is not working?
Right.
That's what I was taught. That's what I know.
Yep.
So you have to kind of like relearn stuff. And
Right.
meanwhile, we
Teach
had kids
yourself.
now. I done had kids now.
Right.
So, I'm having to reteach everything. Plus, I'm having to instill it in my kids because I don't want them, the cycle to continue.
Right.
Because that's what it is. Everything's a cycle.
Right. And I get that part because, like you said, if you're not taught and this is all you get to see, then it's like now as you get older and you realize, different households, like my best friend, her mom and dad were together all their life and they were a beautiful couple, but they had their dysfunction, but she loved him, he loved her. And I seen that part. So, and seeing that dynamic and seeing my mother and father's dynamic, seeing me with my grandmother and her, dating, it helped me to create my own visual. But I realized that as I got older, that there were certain things that I had picked up that I needed to dislearn.
Right.
That I needed to really sit down and listen to other people and how they interacted and how they talked to realize that there's certain things that I, as a person, have to change in order to be the best person
Right.
for my next person, you know, for my partner.
And everybody got to think like that.
Yes.
If everybody thought like that, you'll see a lot more marriages, a lot more successful marriages.
Right.
I dig it. I dig it.
Yes.
It's just basically it's kind of being self-aware, right? Understanding your weaknesses, understanding where you're strong, and then making those adjustments accordingly, and feeling free to have that conversation with the person that you deem to be your spouse, right?
That part.
Yeah. So
You're
so
gonna
just
spend your life
this
with
conversation,
this person. Y'all need to
this
talk.
conversation,
Right.
this conversation.
Intelligent conversation.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
understanding
Yes,
one, because
yes.
and that's what people really have to understand is that you have to have those. We said it all last season. Communicate, properly communicate, because not to communicate just to have something to say.
Right.
Communicate to listen. Understand that not everything that you know is exactly what your partner is telling you. They might know something else, or they might understand it in a different way, and now you guys have to really kind of come together and communicate for you to understand her part, and he has to understand your part, so y'all can come to a solution that helps and works best for the both of you. And if his solution's better, then boom,
roll with it.
let's go with what you got going on. I think I like that. You know what I mean? I like how that's going to go. Let's roll with that. You know what I mean? It has a lot to do with understanding your partner and getting to a real conversation and, you know, hashing it out that way.
Man, women gonna be after you. You just compromised. Listen, they gonna blow your DMs up and say, "Girl,
Blow 'em up, y'all.
Stop,
Blow 'em up.
stop
'Cause-
messing up what we got going."
But the
Because
thing is,
mama had a ring already, and she's easily able to get picked up.
Period.
you telling
Hit
the
my
truth.
DM.
Anybody hit your DMs with anything negative to say? This is why we doing the show.
Exactly.
You are the disadvantage of men.
That part.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, facts.
Exactly why.
So let me. There's a couple other items though that we did talk about in regard to there being a disadvantage of actually being married. We'll get to the drama in a second, but one of the things was that you said, Trey, you said that I can just pick up and leave when I want, which simply means that, number one, that's that lack of commitment. But what it also means is I don't necessarily lose a lot if I pick up and leave, right? Because we're not
Joined.
commingled. Our assets aren't
Nothing is
commingled. Our
combined.
finances are commingled, right?
Yeah.
You know, so it's easier for me to transition if I have to make that particular transition. One of the things that I would say for the people who are battling that, we're intelligent people. I think we're a little more intelligent in a lot of ways, in the ways of the way the system works than our parents were, and then even their parents were, right? There's several ways to beat that if that's what you want to do. I think that every marriage, going into the marriage, I think that there should be a prenuptial agreement. I think that every marriage should start with a contract as to how we will govern the marriage, how the marriage will be governed, and if we should amicably decide that you go your way, I go my way, the way assets will be handled. You guys can start an LLC. All assets run through your LLC. Upon the divorce, you can choose to resolve, or you can choose to keep the LLC going, right? Everybody still owns 50% of the LLC. The LLC is going to run, and we just going to all collect our dividend, right? You can choose to do that without trying to hurt the other person. But the reason I feel that we should go into every marriage with a prenup in the beginning, because keep in mind, that's when everybody's in love. Right? Usually. Except for the Candy Todd situation. We won't go there.
Okay.
But usually that's when everybody's in love. You're not a dirty bastard for doing what you did.
Right.
Now I'm trying to keep your kids from you.
Right. Now we're
Now I'm trying to take you for everything you got.
Right.
Now I'm trying to. No, we in love. So we can sit down at a table and agree that, you know what, baby, if you decide you want to go, you can have that. You can have this. We'll sell the house. No, baby, we won't sell the house. You keep the house. I'll go somewhere else, right? Because we in love. We can deal with each other in a human way.
Right.
So I believe that for all of those people that are just worried about, nah, man, it's just too much. Because, I mean, you know, me and my wife, we are upper middle class couple who are trying to hit the next level. You dig? And for those of you who don't know what the next level is, I believe it's $378,000 per year. Once you transition from $378,000 per year, once you hit over that, you are officially rich. You are no longer upper middle class, right? So me and the wife are constantly putting our pennies together, and we're constantly opening this business, starting this business, doing this, doing that, right? My wife looked up one day and said, "Man, you are me. And I am you." You know what I'm saying? If I wanted to go somewhere, I couldn't go anywhere. You dig? Because we've grown so much together. We've created so much together. But it would be ugly. It could get ugly if we decided to part, because we do have so much together. But that's why I say the prenup, or the contractual agreement in the beginning of the marriage, will basically, and keep in mind, like anything else, a prenup will be adjusted throughout the course of the marriage, simply because you've acquired more assets.
Right.
You have more things. You know, you have several properties. And essentially what she and I decided to do was to put everything in a trust. Right? I mean, we were going to leave it in a trust for the kids anyway. So we just put everything in a trust. If we decide that we want to get a divorce, we may have a different trustee, but we'll just get a check every month, and we'll allow everything that we created to continue to run without trying to hurt each other, without trying to destroy each other. You know, we've created enough things where we'll get a nice little check every month. We can go on about our life.
Amen.
You dig?
I also feel before it even get to a point where you even thinking about separation or thinking about you gotta split, two things you need to do, and both of them hit on it. Ash said communication. Brittany said counseling. Before you feel you just have to separate from your marriage,
Sure.
do both of them things first.
For sure.
Sit down, communicate with your spouse, go to counseling with your spouse, and then see if y'all can rectify the situation.
For sure. The only problem is most of us go into marriages nowadays automatically assuming that's gonna be what it is anyway.
For the rest.
That's why they
Right.
choose not to get married.
Yeah. Right.
Because this is what it's gonna be. Marriages don't last. 70%, cuz 70
Over
70%
in a divorce.
of marriages in a divorce, right? And that's better chances out of 10. That's because we didn't start them the right way,
Exactly.
right? We didn't start them the right way. But
Or we seen red flags and didn't acknowledge them.
exactly,
A lot of times, Ash.
exactly,
Oh, it ain't that. It ain't that bad.
exactly.
I can change them. No.
No.
You cannot.
First
Do not
mistake.
change that man.
First mistake in every
Right.
marriage. You can't change the man, nor can you change the woman.
Look,
Right.
my
They are who you
25-year-old
married
ass
that day you married them.
Didn't understand that,
They are who
because
they
at
are.
25
Yes.
years old, I just knew that we was going to get to a place. If I show you as much love and understanding as possible, you're gonna all that other extra stuff that you're suffering through. It'll be good.
You are not God.
Jesus, Lord, he should have came down upon me and just whacked me
Like,
over
you
the
are not
head,
me,
and then we
ma'am.
would have
Yeah.
never been there.
Yeah, that's
But-
not the way that go. But a lot of
Yeah,
people
it
go into
works.
marriages
That's how it
thinking,
goes.
Yes.
I can change it.
Right.
That
Right, you
goes.
can't change
That's
it.
how that goes.
Right,
Change
you
nobody.
can't change it. All right, so we're gonna take a quick break, y'all. We're gonna come back with the next topic real quick and talk about a little bit of infidelity. All right, so we'll be right back.
Touch on it.
All right.
All right, y'all. We
Hey, welcome back, y'all, for the third and final segment of this tonight's show. Hey, man, they cut up when we be on break. just know that this guy right here, he wants no part of my ideology. But I'm gonna give it to y'all real quick. So one of the other biggest reasons why a lot of men say I don't want to get married is just because they don't want to be with one woman for the rest of their lives. Let's keep it 100, right? So you run into a bunch of situations where marriages end because of infidelity. Now, I specifically said infidelity. I did not say cheating, and the reason why I say that is because, to me, when you cheat, you cheat or you go back on your wedding vows, right? It's not necessarily the act of being with someone else. That's infidelity. Because a woman, I'll give you a prime example, women oftentimes want to throw men under the bus and say, well, you cheated, right? To me, cheating is simply breaking the vows at the beginning of the marriage. But oftentimes women will break those vows as well without actually going out and being with another person, right? You can simply cheat by emasculating your husband, right? Do I need to go deeper in that? You can emasculate your husband to the point where, on the way over, we were talking about women, black women are doing their thing, right?
Yes,
We were talking about, black women are out here, they making money. Hats off to them. You know what I'm saying? They're going to college at a higher rate. They're graduating at a higher rate. They're starting businesses at a higher rate. They're making money. Hats off to them. I love my black women. I love my sisters, right? Sexiest thing on the planet. I dig it. But understand this. So you go get, so you sexy black woman, you who is now worth $1.2 million, you go get that brother who, he's just doing his thing. He happy with the little stuff he got. He might be making $60,000, $70,000 a year, but he love you and want to be with you, right? The day that you compare checks, you just cheated. Understand that. You emasculated your husband. You cheated. So that's why.
Deep.
That's why. That's why
I don't think
we
they,
use.
Can you say that again for the people in the back? 'Cause I don't think they heard that part.
You can cheat just simply by breaking the vows. Period. It does not mean that you crept out with somebody or you did anything wrong. You emasculated your husband. As a man, you devalued your wife in any type of way.
Told
You
her
cheated.
what she didn't do, what she couldn't have done,
Right.
how she could have changed this.
Right, you cheated. So that's why we use the term infidelity when we're talking about one of the biggest reasons that marriages fail. Infidelity and finance are the two biggest reasons, right? So a lot of fellas don't want to get married. And I want to do an all fella show and I want to have this conversation, right? But a lot of fellas don't want to get married simply because, man, I ain't ready. I'm doing me. I'm
Ain't
doing
that the
me.
biggest one?
I'm not ready.
I'm doing me. Even the women say that a lot of times.
Yeah, I'm not ready to get married. I haven't got all the hoe out of me yet. I'm doing my thing, right? I mean, that's fact.
what they say.
But here's the thing. I mean, are you ever going to get the hoe out of you? I challenge any man. No, this is fact. Listen to what I'm saying. See, Brittany took it the wrong way.
You can't get the hoe out of you.
You can have a little hole in you, but that's for one person, okay?
Add a little hoe for your wife.
Get all your whole fantasies out.
But see, Brittany took it the wrong way, right? So here's what I mean. If you fellas, if you have cheated on every woman that you've ever made a commitment to, I ain't talking about the jump off from the club that hung around a little too long. I'm talking about if you cheated on every woman that you've ever made a commitment to, you need to ask yourself: are you a monogamous? Are you a polygamous? Right? That's a huge question.
Right.
Are you monogamous or are you polygamous?
Self-examination.
Yes.
Right.
That's what we talked about. So
Understanding.
a lot of these fellas that are running from marriage, they're running from marriage simply because they can't get right. Well, it's not that they can't get right, it's that they're polygamous in a monogamous society. Right? So what they need to do, and what I've been saying since season 1,
Right.
is be honest with the women up front as to who and what you are.
Truthful
Right. You don't have to dodge commitment. You don't have to dodge a relationship. You can simply say, hey, babe, I'm a polygamist. And this is the way I want to live my life. It's not that I want to run the streets. It's not that I want to hit everything moving. It's just that I got enough love to give to 2 different women. You dig? And this is what and who I am. And do you accept this? And there's a group of women out there. The further and further we get away from grandmas in their marriages,
Grandmas and them.
Grandma and Papa.
Yeah, but
Right.
further and further we get away from that, there are more and more women, especially considering that by the time we reach marriage age, there's only one man for every 7 women in the black community. So there's only one man for every 7 women in the black community, right? So dealing with that reality, polygamy is kind of the next step. Right? If every woman wants companionship, if every woman wants a man in the home to help raise the children and build wealth with, right? You can't get it. It's not enough. Especially if you covet black men. I mean, if you covet black men, it's not enough. Right? A lot of women's answer is, I'll go deal with another man. Some women don't want another man. Right? Exactly. So with that being the case, the only thing we got is Be honest. I'm a polygamist.
Honesty
right?
is always key.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So sis, you don't have to be alone. We don't have to cheat. She's agreeing with this particular lifestyle. I can love the both of you. I can provide for the both of you. I can take care of the both of you. We can build this thing together, right? That's the approach that he has to have if in fact, yeah, definitely. No, I mean, if if in fact, I mean that's a real thing. As a matter of fact, you can be the spokesperson. We're gonna do
T-shirt.
right,
She
right.
said, I
But
got
I mean,
it.
but instead of running for marriage, you can be honest nowadays. I mean, do you agree or disagree?
Right. I mean, like we all said over and over again, it's called communication and proper communication. You know, understanding what your dynamic is, understanding who you are, understanding what you're able to provide and what you're able to give, and that's man or woman. Understanding, you know, everything, and then that's you're more willing to have a successful and understanding marriage than it is to just back out of it and just be like, well, I'll just be by myself. Because then at the end of the day, what are you doing? You're going to end up going home every night in this cold bed, not having nobody to wrap up in, and you're going to feel lonely. So I say at the end of the day, it's best to have proper communication, understand who you are, and then you can probably move forward and actually have that happy life.
See, we need women out here with a stamp on their head to say, I'm understanding. I
Some
guarantee
people
you.
stamp their little stickers, the under the DV rubbed off, and then the DV gone on stand. Ain't no eyes that come up there with a little apostrophe.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a lot of men that fit that criteria that won't speak on it. They won't
Right, they won't.
communicate it because it's frowned upon.
Because they're so scared.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You definitely should.
Like he said, we was born up on grandmama and morals and understanding. Nobody can understand past that no more. You know what I mean? Everybody's taught monogamy. That's just the end all to be all. You have to find the right person for you. There's always the right person out there for you. But who's to say that right person for you aren't two people that might be the right people for you? You never know what it is.
So I have a question I want to ask you, ladies. With y'all selfish asses, and let's see, and y'all about to see where I'm about to
Still
go.
agree with it.
Hey, I'm gonna see where y'all about to go.
Let's get it.
So first thing, understand this, that the philosophy of monogamy is in itself selfish. Understand that, okay? So if we know as women, right, that at the time that it's time to get married, there's only one black male for every 7 women, right? When you get your black man, the one black man, you got the winning ticket. Right? You got to win a ticket because it's damn near like winning the lottery, right?
Right. The unicorns, you say,
Right.
that are out here.
So you got the one black man. My question for you is, what about y'all 6 other sisters that's left without? What do y'all think about them?
Didn't I just tell you what it is?
I know I just said it.
Join us.
I know
Yeah.
I feel like I repeat myself.
I mean, but not many of your sisters have that attitude.
Right.
I mean,
But again, it goes back to grandmama and them's marriage and ways. We were taught a certain way. I just told you last episode that they teach you to be independent, have your own, make sure you make sure everything that you got is yours. So even down to your man is supposed to be just yours. You know what I mean? They don't teach you any of that other stuff. That's not accepted. It's not talked about. It's not even, you don't have no education on it. So automatically you feel like if it's not yours, then you're doing something wrong, or so just going back to it all, we weren't taught that.
figuring out what works for you in your marriage, like I said. If
Right.
that's something that you guys want, if that's something that he's adamant about, and you know that this is the man for you, and he just hit you with
And
this
it's gonna
bomb,
work.
like, you're going to have to, you know what I'm saying, sit with that and work through it. Like,
Right.
you have, everybody can't be wrong. Everybody can't be wrong for you. Like, ain't nobody out here for me. Okay, it's 7 women and 1 man. Right, is that what you said?
That's it. That's stats.
Okay, so
Right.
bam. Either you're gonna come up with a winning team, you're just gonna be out there.
Right. And that's exactly what I was.
And then you're gonna end up coming over here anyway. So
And
Right.
what you said was huge.
right there. Cause
What you said was huge.
You gonna come over here
gonna
anyway.
come over
Because
here
what's gonna
anyway.
end up
Yes.
happening is
Yes.
mama gonna
So
sneak her ass
serious.
in.
Yeah.
And she ain't even gonna reap the benefits of having a sister because look, you got me over here. We could be working together, building together. We could, but no, she gonna just behind the
we
back.
need to get into that show, like
Because
another
a
show.
lot of women don't realize they already in that.
Okay.
Girl, you already in it, mama.
All right. I just wanted to see if you ladies were selfish like some of your counterparts. Because most women will tell you, I don't think about her. All I think about is him and what we got. Her be damned. But what she don't
Meanwhile,
realize,
back in
what
the
she don't realize is
Her ain't be
is
now.
those
She right there. You just didn't know it.
Exactly. Of those 6 women who wants the black man, of those 6 women, 2 to 3 of them will come take your black man anyway, and be with him anyway. Now he may never leave home, but they're going to
why I
come
said try.
take your black man and be with him anyway. And a lot of women are in polygamous relationships and just won't admit it. In other words, they know where he go when he leave the house.
Back in the day, that's where grandmama and them
I
was.
feel
They
like
were
one
in
of
no
my aunties
polygamous
been in one for
relationship.
years. She just don't know.
They know.
Yeah,
She
she
know.
Yeah, most time a woman know.
She knows.
Yeah.
That's like grandmama. You know, grandma at the house. She done cook. She clean. She did everything. But she know grandpa's at the bar. Now
Right.
she thinking she know grandpa ain't at the bar with his boys. She know
Right.
grandpa down that bar with Susan down the street, and she know it.
Right.
Exactly.
That's how but they kept hush hush because they knew what it was back in the day. They just went along with that.
Trey, what you think about it, bro?
About the polygamy?
What you think about it, man? I know me and you come from very religious backgrounds,
Right, me too.
right?
Yes.
So,
Me too.
so of
We
course,
all-
like we
I
said,
was raised in
none of us were taught this. This was the wrong thing to do. Some people want to say, "Oh, that's just Old Testament stuff." So my question to you is,
Yeah, 'cause it is in
you
the
know,
Bible.
It is.
knowing the
In the
facts,
Bible.
Most men have multiple wives.
knowing the facts, and
Even
knowing that as a people we're in dire straits, right? What do you think about it?
I'm a little different. I'm not at the point where I believe that I'm a polygamist
I dig it.
or that I need 2 women.
Okay.
I still feel I just need that one.
Okay.
But I see it. I understand the concept of it. Like I see it all around me. I read about it. I know it's the statistics of it.
Right.
I know they used to do it before grandma and grandpa taught us you only need one. Nah, they was doing this
Right.
before that.
Takes a village.
So you know it ain't nothing that should be frowned upon. I'm just not at a point where I
Were you willing
feel,
to say it's for you?
yeah, it's not for me
dig
right
that.
now.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
What
Wait
goes
Wait
on
a
later?
minute.
You gotta find that one
Wait
verse.
a minute.
Because he's like, look,
He said
I
you gotta
ain't
find that
found
one
right.
verse.
He
Yeah,
ain't
I
found
gotta
the
get
one
that
in
one
order to
verse,
even
yeah.
find 2. He got to
Right,
figure out that
exactly.
one.
You
gotta find
before he
that
can
one
get
That's why I
the
say it's not for me right now.
But hold on, cuz.
What's up?
I just said you got to be honest with her in the beginning. Now, if you're saying that I'm a monogamous and you find her, and then 5 years later you realize that you're a polygamist, you didn't sell her on that. in the
Well,
beginning.
what if I didn't know I was?
Oh,
Nah,
See,
but
here we go.
and you're 100% right.
Yeah.
That happens
That
to a lot of
happens.
us.
Yes.
That happens to a lot of us.
Teaching,
But what does that
understanding.
do to the woman that you sold on monogamy?
Communication.
There
There
you
you
go.
go,
She
Travis.
gotta accept my change.
Do
There
she
you go,
do she
Travis.
have to?
Can we grow in this relationship?
She should. If she's in love with me and I'm being totally honest,
Right.
I'm communicating and I'm letting her know my new situation, how I'm feeling, how we should go to better us.
Before you step out,
Before I step out, I'm letting you know, look, babe, we gonna sit down, have a talk. If she's with it, which if she feeling me, she, you know what I'm saying, she might already been feeling it and was scared to tell me. So
That
you
might
never
be
know
a
how a
part, too.
woman's thinking until y'all sit down and
You
have that
ask
talk.
her.
right? So
Right.
y'all
You
have
gotta
that
ask.
communication.
You gotta have that communication instead of thinking, no, she ain't gonna go for this. I'm gonna cheat with Brittany. Yeah, you never know. She might be liking Brittany herself. So you know,
Period.
Good.
She
yeah. So you gotta have that.
You made her blush.
communication. You know, I tend to do that.
I dig it.
You know,
That's
but
facts.
yeah,
What you're
you
saying
know.
is you're definitely speaking facts. At the end of the day, it is communication. And sometimes it does happen midstream. It happens mid-relationship.
yeah.
And, you know, sometimes that happens on the female side too. But at the end of the day, it's all about communication because, once again, any union that you put together, the goal is to keep it together.
Right.
And the way that you keep it together is through communication in the beginning of the relationship and communication throughout the relationship.
So, playing devil's advocate, when you do, because we are talking about keeping marriages together and having marriages and all of that, what are you to say to the young lady that is looking, or or the young man that is looking to find another counterpart? What do you say to them about, okay, what marriage is supposed to look like at that point?
But have they given me enough information to give them the direction in regard to what will work for them? If I'm understanding what you asked.
I don't think you're understanding.
Okay, so say it again.
Make it plain.
Right.
Say it again.
So if you have a dynamic, okay, so y'all are married. You have a husband and wife. Y'all are married. Y'all have, now you are seeking a third party, third partner. What does marriage look like in that realm of life?
Okay.
Those three counterparts with moving forward.
Got it. Okay. So totally misunderstood what you said.
I
was trying to help another guy, another couple.
way-
Okay. All right.
Lord,
But for me, what I would expect.
y'all, this is normal. They never understand me. I gotta always break it down in the layman.
Trey, did you understand? Wait a minute.
Hey, I'm
Trey.
good here. So I'm gonna be fine. I'm not finna doggone ass we here.
Here's how to get fired. Okay.
No, stop it, because swear for God.
Hey, man,
people
hey,
really think that I'm not that
So,
person.
so
I
hey,
am
y'all,
not that
hey.
person. I
So
do
from
not
now
fire
on,
people.
from now on, y'all, where Ash say something, we just look at each other, make sure if you don't get it,
Right. So
I'll
everybody
sacrifice
knows.
myself.
And you be the one to speak up.
So anyway, but no, I'm sorry.
Y'all see
to
Ass,
answer,
we here. I told you now. We here.
to answer your question though,
That part.
I mean, if the couple is already a team in the beginning, and let's say it's a man and woman adding a female, right? If the couple is already a team and he's already discussed to her his change, like my man Trey said, he's discussed his change, she's accepted his change, then they're looking for someone who can add to what it is that they're creating.
Correct.
Right. Number one, if they're headed a specific direction, they're looking for a woman who can add to the direction that they're going, possibly even help get them to the finish line even faster. So they're talking about building an empire together at that point. So myself, the reason why people who are married build wealth quicker is because there's two people living in the house sharing bills. Okay, so I feel the exact same way with the third person. If you really want to build and if you want to acquire wealth at a faster rate, I think that she needs to be in the house. Now that's where the problem usually comes up, where you have two women that really don't want they willing to share a man, but they not willing to share a house. Don't understand the logic, but that's a thing.
Each woman needs to know their place, though.
Right.
Okay, mister.
Oh.
If you gonna do it, you gonna do it right. Each woman
That's
knows
what
their
he
place.
said.
Oh,
That's what
please
he said.
explain.
You
Please,
know,
I can't even look him in his eye right now. Please explain yourself.
Look,
We want to hear it.
in
We would love
everything
it.
you do in life, when you go to work, you got a boss, you got a manager, you got a whatever operator.
Right.
When you build in a household like what Cuz just talked about, every person in that household has to know his place. You have your alpha, you got your queen, you got your princesses.
Okay.
The alpha's gonna rule the house. Behind that alpha is gonna be his queen. The woman has to accept that she's not the queen. The other woman is the queen. If that can be an acceptance right there, it's gonna flow smooth. She knows her place. That's alpha. That's queen. I'm here to help. We here to do everything together, and that's how it's gonna flow. If you have any issues with the women not knowing their place, I'm queen. No, I'm queen. I'm queen.
You know what, Travis? For you not to be a polygamist, I just feel like you have a lot of valid points. Like you've been here before. You should teach a class. You better educate these people.
You know, it's advantages and disadvantages to everything.
Right.
I'm not here to frown upon anything people choose to do.
That's true.
You know, I understand it from all angles.
Right.
The only thing people got to understand what works best for them.
With them, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And this is what I love about our podcast is to educate. It's to educate those that don't understand that there's why marriage is good, what disadvantages are, so you can understand what to look for, what to communicate about, what to talk about. It helps to understand the direction moving forward. You know what I mean? Because not everybody understands it. They don't know where to go, how to go, what up or down. It's just like building a business. Most people don't know how to build a business, so they don't build a business.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're
It's
right.
the same thing with marriage. Most people don't understand the fundamentals, so they don't want to
Never
go
get
in
into
it.
it.
They're like, I'm going to just back down because I don't know what
I
I'm
don't know
supposed to
what's
do.
going on. Right. Educate yourself.
Right.
Well, people got to understand, even in the biblical days, they had 2 wives.
Right.
That's true.
That is in the
And,
Bible.
You know, I mean,
It is in the Bible.
and I was raised in church.
Right. I heard
But I
it so
wasn't
many
taught
times.
that
No.
until I read the Bible. You know what I'm saying? So
Right. It's
you're-
almost like
You're being
research.
taught to have
Right.
one. You're reading, well, he had 2. He had 3.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay for him to do this and that. And it wasn't frowned upon in God's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, do what works for you.
Hey,
But
Well-
I do have a question, though.
Well, go ahead and I'll speak on that real quick.
What do you do if your wife comes to you and say,
she wants a
yeah, she thinks she's a polygamist. She wants another man to come around.
Okay, so and I'm with that too. It depends on, once again, if you and your wife, are in the mode of building, and you've come to the conclusion and the decision that this is the woman I want to be with the rest of my life, no matter what, you know, and if there was any way that she could promise you that her love for you won't change, then if that's for you, then do it.
Right.
You dig? I mean, if you can handle that, and if that's for you, then allow that woman that. Create your rules, create the contract or
Everything
whatever it
needs a
is that it
contract.
is that you guys agree upon, and how that will be handled, right? It's gonna be hard for a lot of men the way that we covered our women. Now for any woman that wants to do that, I will say this, and women, you may be able to redirect me the same way, but understand this, ladies. If you ask for that, be careful what you ask for, in the respect that your man handles you different when he covets you, right? He handles you differently when he covets you. You know he loves you when he walks in the room. He doesn't have to say a word, right? Now, if you ask to bring another man in, he may covet you just a little differently after that. Now, not saying it won't work, not saying it can't work, not saying that he's not committed to it working. Just understand that same feeling that you get when he come in might not be the same now that you guys have chosen to change that particular dynamic.
And that's a hard might, because at the same time we can't really speak upon how that might work for other people, because you know there's other people that are
There are
accepting
polygamous
of
relationships with 2 men and 1 woman.
Right.
it's called polyandry, and
Right.
it happens, and they're very coveting. You know what I mean? I've watched.
Well, that's honestly though, because if we can speak that, I'm going to say that 90% of those particular relationships, the men are also involved.
Well, let's not speculate.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not speculating. Not speculating. We can pull it up. Not speculation. A lot in majority of those particular relationships, men are involved as well.
Okay.
Right? So if he's gonna love you to death because that's what he wanted. Anyway, so now he gets the best of both worlds. He gets her and he gets him. Yeah, the covetousness is going to be there.
Okay.
Yeah. But for the man that's just going to allow you that, I'm going to be over here while you go see Jeffrey. Right? Or I'm going to be upstairs while you go downstairs to see Jeffrey. However they choose to do it. That guy, he may covet you just slightly different. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
But at the same time, if you do allow that dynamic, understand it's all a part of understanding each other, your love for each other, and if you're allowing that, then that means you are allowing to still be the man that she married, and you're allowing her to still be the woman that you know of and married, and you still, so you might not cover her exactly the same, but you still have to kind of treat her as if you are still in that space. Just the same way with the woman. If you know she's allowing you that, you know, you guys all have to be able to treat each other in the same way or the same manner as before you allow the third party in.
I dig
Or-
it. I mean, that's the way.
or-
That's the way.
or it rocks-
That's the only
rocks
way it
the
works.
cradle.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the only way it works. That's the only way it works. I agree with that. I agree with that. So, I mean, just to kind of put a bow on it, though, we were just talking about those people. We went all the way into polygamy, but
We
but
ventured
however,
all
it
the
is
way off.
it's important though for that person who's avoiding a relationship, who's avoiding marriage, who's avoiding being in the house with their children, who's avoiding building wealth, right? Who is avoiding increasing their asset or their net worth by 100% simply because I can't be faithful. That's important because once again, to put a bow on everything, as black people, if we want to be better at parenting our children as a community, building wealth as a community, we may have to consider different things. If in fact we're going to be together, if in fact we're going to be married to each other, if we're going to cohabitate with each other, because the men in our communities have been depleted so much, we may have to think about it a different way. And I'm not saying this is for every generation. I'm not saying this is something that we need to do for the next 100 years. But until we get the black males' numbers back up, where every black woman, if she chooses to have a black man, got one?
Or option of having
Exactly, an
Right.
option of having one if
Right.
that's what she wants. This may be the only way, is what I'm saying in regard to the idea of a polygamous relationship. All right. So all y'all brothers out there that's running, hey man, just be honest in the beginning. You don't have to run. There's women out here who are tired of being lonely. They realize they don't want their sisters being lonely. They saying, hey man, you come in, you follow these rules, and we can do this thing together. Right?
Contracts and communication.
Contracts and communication. Y'all dig? So hey, this was another great show of She Say, He Say. Thank y'all for joining us tonight. Don't forget to go to the YouTube page. Make sure you're subscribing to the programming. Any questions that you guys got, we're actually going to get a polygamous couple on. I'm gonna try to get a throuple on this season, but definitely got a couple lined up for y'all to come. Y'all want to ask some questions about it? Definitely drop it. Leave it in the comments below, and we'll be back next week with another hot show.
Amen.
All right. Y'all be easy.
Out.
Bye bye.